Hi, I'm Shamir Peshewa with mightyTiny Promotions, and here we're doing a segment called Around Your Block, and we're talking to people who are in the Knoxville, Tennessee area and are affected obviously by COVID, and we're talking about small business and entrepreneurship and what that kind of looks like right now. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and thank you for joining us.
I'm Eddie Reymond, owner of Eddie's Health Shop. Been in business in Knoxville for 24 years with our West Knoxville location and about a year and a half with our downtown Eddie's Health Shop. I'm also a co-owner of Zenevo Chocolate, which is our local company, and also Knoxville Performance Lab, which is next to Eddie's Health Shop. We've had that for about 10 years.
I'm Chris Durant, owner of Knoxville Man, LLC. Basically, it used to be like a full quality high gloss magazine. Then, as the way print goes, it kind of just goes sometimes. And we turned it into a promotions and concert company. And that's about it. We do model shoots, we do concerts, we promote small businesses, that kind of thing.
Awesome. And once again, I'm Shamir Peshewa. I'm kind of the host, but there's not really a host. We're just going to kind of talk and have a conversation as you would in person before this whole thing. Eddie, you mentioned Zenevo Chocolates, and I just want to touch on that for a second in case people don't know what they are. It's protein chocolate, and I know you probably went, no, not protein, not healthy chocolate, but it's actually delicious. So if you guys haven't, that's a shameless plug from me, but if you haven't had it, it's definitely delicious.
It's amazing. I've had it, and it's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, Eddie, your businesses are still open. They are considered essential, and in my opinion, essential, but they are considered essential. What has that looked like for you? Just kind of walk people through what that's been like.
Yeah, so my bread and butter is Eddie's Health Shop, and we've been blessed to still being able to be open with that. Knoxville Performance Lab, we closed down as soon as the president basically said the essential, non-essential. So the Performance Lab is non-essential, so we closed that down. So we're not doing testing or consultations or any of that. Zenevo Chocolate, being that we mainly do mail order, that's still in business, but not everybody is in business. So we have a reduction of shipments and how much product we're moving, but we still have a warehouse people that ship orders and things like that. But as far as Eddie's, it's been kind of a roller coaster. The week before all the restrictions came in, we were actually really busy. Everybody was kind of trying to get what they needed. I think the population kind of knew that we were going to have more restrictions. And so we were selling more immune supplements and everything. We actually had really good numbers where some people were already declining. So we were blessed for that. For about 3 weeks now, since the restrictions, we're open, but we're only doing about 50 to 55% of the business that we normally would. And that's completely understanding. I mean, we have a elderly population that purchases supplements from us. We do have some high-risk people, and those people are just not getting out. We have offered curbside pickup, which we're doing every day. We do mail order to some of our customers, which that's definitely increased. So our actual walk-ins has been much less, and we've taken every precaution possible, cleaning, now we're all wearing masks. We're doing all that we can to keep the environment as safe as possible. But yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I've not laid off anyone. My entire payroll, I have about 20 employees. They're technically still working for me. I've had 2 or 3 that voluntarily decided that they just didn't want to work, and that was fine. We're not forcing anybody to work. but we've been able to do enough business to at least keep our people employed. And there's definitely no profit making right now. I mean, we're in the red, but at least we're able to provide jobs and kind of keep the wheels moving at least.
Absolutely. I know some people are still able to work and some people aren't, and it's definitely a blessing, to still be able to be out there and working. Chris, what does this look like for you? What is this, if you're doing promotions and stuff, what does this change for your company?
Well, I mean, I do so many, it's bars and nightclubs or small businesses, and they're all closed. My best friend, Ty Ho, owns Pint House and Vincent's Cafe on Merchants. And, I do a lot of stuff with him, and it's just closed. And I actually met with him the other day. We sat 6 feet apart and had a beer and watched something on TV in the bar with the door locked, and talk about everything. And it's just it's weird. And you don't do model shoots. I mean, when there's a pandemic, no girl wants to be walking around in lingerie with a bunch of people standing around, and then somebody gets a cough and you're like, oh shit. And it's so, I mean, just everything. This is probably the craziest thing. And I mean, I went through 9/11, like I was living in New York. But as far as just something that's like day to day scary, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, taken its toll. And hopefully we have seen better numbers by doing the social distancing, which I personally do believe in. It's important to protect those who can't necessarily protect themselves.
Exactly.
So that's
how
important.
I feel about it. It's not about just yourself. Doing the social distancing and that kind of thing, not only are you protecting yourself, but you're protecting other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it that some people I don't think understand.
Now, I guess looking forward, everybody knows, where we're at. Looking forward, what do you guys see Knoxville doing? What do you see Knoxville being able to pull off afterwards? I love our city because of how community it is. And I think that after all of this, we're going to see kind of like an influx in Knoxville that we haven't seen recently, maybe ever. That's just me, though. What do you guys think?
Well, that's what I told Ty yesterday or Tuesday is, I think for him, once they're able to reopen, at least for the next couple months, business will be booming. People are just excited to be able to get out of the house, go somewhere, go out to eat again, not just picked up at the curb or have it delivered by whoever.
Yeah, have the actual experience.
Right. Be able to actually just interact and be around people. I mean, I want to come see your place.
Yeah.
I want to go.
It's nice.
To Eddie's. I want to go to Eddie's because I haven't tried the peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
And I feel I need those in my life.
You do. Everyone does.
Right. And so, I mean, I think once it opens back up, it will be a huge boost to the economy. I'm a huge Glenn Jacobs supporter, as I know you are. I have known him for a long time. His daughter, Devin, has been a good friend of Knoxville Man. And we've done promotions together with the Boys and Girls Club, as well as concussion seminars before he was ever even talking about running for mayor. But I feel like the reopening does have to be very calculated.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that none of us are politicians. I'm glad that I'm not a politician. I'm glad, Eddie, what do you think?
I don't know about anybody else on this call, but I don't necessarily ever want to run for office because there's some things that could be dug out of the past that I don't necessarily,
That might be an over 18 show.
Yeah,
the diaries. Eddie, what do you think? What do you think about Knoxville? What do you think this recovery looks like? And not so much political, just community.
Well, first, kind of stepping back to what I'm seeing right now, which is pretty cool. When most of my days are shorter than they used to be, so once I'm done with my work at work, I get home earlier, and I'm quarantined just like everybody else. But me and my wife been taking walks from our house to Publix to get our groceries, about a 2-mile walk. And even though everybody's even walking, I mean, you're social distancing, you're staying away from people. Like, everybody's speaking. Everybody's like, "Hi, how you doing? Like, have a good day?" I don't have an espresso machine, but I have to have an espresso every morning. And so I'm still going by there's only one or two coffee shops that are open through the drive-thru. So I'll go by Starbucks. Unfortunately, the local shops that I go to, K-Brew, and they're not open right now, but I'll get my espresso, and, the girl's like, "Oh, the guy in front of you paid for your coffee." So I paid for the one behind me. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff in the community right now that people are loving people and being nice and supporting each other. So I think that's gonna, whenever things open back up, I mean, we're gonna see even more of that versus before. I think everybody's just gonna be so excited and happy, and hopefully we'll see a nice boom. At the same time, I think for certain things, at least for a while, people are going to be more careful. I think you'll see a lot more people continue to use hand sanitizer and wear masks and do things a little bit differently than what we used to do. I mean, I'm 51. I never really worried about, washing. I mean, I wash my hands when I get home at night and wash my hands in the morning. And I mean, if I use the bathroom, I wash my hands, but that's about it. I think people are going to, do certain things a lot more than they used to, even for a while, especially in gyms. I mean, I think people are going to be more careful initially on hygiene and,
and gyms.
Yeah. So there will be some adjustment. There will be some things that we haven't done before. I'm not sure exactly what all that be, but I think we're going to live a little bit in a different world, but we'll definitely see a big economic, a boom. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think so as well. You know what I think's still going to take a hit is tanning beds. I don't feel like
I think vanity outweighs fear.
They're like, no way I'm getting in that tanning bed.
I think vanity outweighs fear, and if I can clean it before I can get in it, I'll still get in it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that, I think we will see better hygiene from people. I think we will see more politeness. I've noticed that too.
I have too.
I speak to people. Before this, like if I was in Kroger and you were looking at me, I would say hello to you because why not? Like you're looking at me. So I was like, hi, how are you today? Why not greet people? Why not be polite to people? I have seen an increase of it over the past little bit, and I haven't left very much. I've been getting a lot of stuff just delivered. I'm thankful enough that that's a possibility for me to not have to go into the stores or not have to go anywhere. I know that's not, a thing for a lot of people.
Sure.
The positivity, I think, in Knoxville at least, has been really good. I think that there's some cities who have been a little bit more fearful, and I think Knoxville has done pretty well being positive towards the situation. I'm pretty excited for the gym situation. Eddie, you know this, Chris, you probably don't know this, but I don't think that you should ever train 20 or 30 people at one time. You know,
Right.
I don't necessarily believe that 20 or 30 people should be in there doing something that you could be so hurt at, you know, like, I don't know, but it's not my choice, you know? So we operate pretty small, and I'm excited to kind of come back and see what this looks like. I think that we can use the under 10. I really do think under 10 people. I think you could have sanitized stations at the front doors. I think you could have hand washing stations put in, you know, even temporary ones. You can have things put in to where people feel safe about being there. I think that the gyms, the big, huge gyms, might have a little bit of issues, but people are so afraid that they're going to lose what they've worked for. I mean, if you don't have weights at home and nobody will deliver them to you and you're not allowed to go buy them anywhere, then if you've worked really hard to get into like a bodybuilding competition or you know, an MMA fight or whatever you've been working towards athletically, the Olympics, I mean, anything, that could be a huge stressor mentally. You know, there's a lot of people under mental stress, so it's good to see the positivity. Eddie, you work with...
Imagine the poor UPS driver that has to deliver weights. That sucks.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah. That happened when we moved into the gym. This guy came.
I thought about that actually when you guys at the gym. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to me, Josh Miller, Nikki, and Monica rode to Johnson City and those Lifetime Fitnesses that are up there. The guy sold me a bunch of equipment out of one of them, which was super nice, but we had to go get it all, and everybody was like super busy. So me and Josh were pretty much the people who moved it. So we moved like a 630 square foot dance floor and like all of the actual gray and like teal machines that are at Marvel now in one weekend. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Good workout.
Yes. I would not want to do it again for sure. They were all very heavy. I would, but it would be. Now, Eddie, I'm going to talk about this. I saw something that you put for 2021 yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think you should explain what that post was that I'm talking about and what your goal is for next year.
Yeah. So I used to do crazy stuff for my birthday. When I turned 42, I ran 42 miles around my parking lot and did 420 push-ups, 420 dumbbell curls, and tricep extension with 20-pound weight in less than 7 hours. So my 43rd birthday, I played ping pong for 48 hours straight. And both of those were for different charities, trying to raise money for different charities, children's cancer, my friend's kidney transplant and things like that. But yeah, I didn't do anything after that. I feel like I'm a goal-oriented guy, and I feel like I've spent the last few years just kind of letting my personal goals kind of get away from me. And I was watching Joe Rogan's the other day, and they had David, what is David's last name? David Gagon, or starts with a G, I think. Yeah, crazy dude, that Navy SEAL that was 300 pounds. And I listened to his story, and that, you know, he was telling people how, you know, other people's story motivated him and what he did, and it's just insane. And it just kind of got me motivated again. So I'm like, I'm going to put it on paper. I'm going to put it out there, and I'm going to get this done. So yeah, I'm going to run 100 miles around my shopping center in about 49 weeks. So game on. That's my priority right now. And I don't know what I'm going to raise money for, but I'm going to get it done.
That's, man, you know, before we started recording, like I told you, like, we have mutual friends, and you're held in high regard to a lot of those people. And I hold you in high regard because those are people that I trust. And I really find that amazing, and how goal-oriented you are and that kind of thing. I really think that's very awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I basically survive on drive. And there's just some fire that goes through my veins that pretty much starts in the morning and ends at night. And it's just a lot of that drive has been business oriented. But but I like to, I like to do something to kind of build that fire back up. And, he was talking about fears in life, and I feel like as I get older, I have more fears. Sure. Right before this Corona thing got bad, we were on a trip to Utah and Arizona, and it was great in one way, but I was having adrenal roller coasters the whole time, from having fears of heights and having fears of Corona, and I was just like, I don't want to live my life in fear. So within this goal of running 100 miles, part of my goal is to face my fears and try to get rid of that. I don't need fears. So that kind of rang a bell when I heard him talking about his fears, and I'm like, that's me right now. I can't keep that going.
I think that's so motivating, and for a lot of people.
That's one of the biggest reasons I think I've stayed close to you, is because not everyone, but most people, when I spend any amount of time with them, they're like, you do too much stuff, you do too many things, you go a mile a minute, you need to calm down. And with Eddie, it's like, okay, how fast? Where are we going? What are we doing? What's the plan? Let's make a goal. And I'm like, okay. And I get so excited. I don't know how people don't have that. I don't know how people don't just get excited every day for trying to get a better goal, or make yourself a better person, or learn something new, or just be more. But not everyone has that mindset.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we only have one life.
I'll be first to say this, and I'll be totally honest about myself, since we're doing this with Shamir.
Yeah. Honesty.
I have to take some medications and that kind of thing. If I fall into a rut, it's very hard for me to get myself out of it. I don't every day get excited about things. I always try to be kind, or try to be able to help people when I can. But I don't wake up every day let's tackle this new day. And it's something that I've struggled with all my life. Yet I'm also that person, though, once I do set a goal and orient my mind to it, then nothing will stop me from the goal. And that's kind of just the way I've always worked, you know what I mean? Just I have to set goals.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll wear a spot up on the damn couch. You know what I mean?
I totally get that. And I mean, you're aware of it. That's the biggest positive out of it. Just you use those goals and just get driven behind them. You've got, like you said, you've got to do that. Or it's just, then you're going to go back to that. So the fact that you're aware of it, I think, is the biggest thing. And I would suggest writing down your goals, having a list of goals and how you're going to get there. People talk about vision, and I'm one to talk to people about visions. And I like to tell people, whatever the vision is, don't stop there. Think of the vision of the vision of the vision. You could keep going up. So I want to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it. But then from there, I'm going to potentially go this direction. And then from there, I'm going to go. So when you start mapping it out to what things can do, you start looking outside the box. And I think it's all, I
think it helps motivate.
Yeah. People sometimes just stop the vision too soon. So then they kind of expect that for this to happen, somebody's going to have to help me, or I'm going to have to do this, or I'm going to have to do that. And it's no, keep looking at the vision further. If you just follow the path with all the potentials that can happen, there's so many good things that are going to happen. Especially like you said, when you try to be good with it, that's the key. When you're a good person and you have the vision with that, everything just falls into place.
I mean, it does. And it does so many times, and I've been very blessed in my life with, you know, I'm very selective about the people that I surround myself with. I have a lot of friends, but the people that I actually surround myself with are all very good, motivating people. And like I said, when I get set on something, I'll kill myself to make sure it's achieved. And I try to build on that, just like you were saying. Like, to me, it's kind of like Jenga. You know, you achieve something, you pull a block out, but then what do? You put it on top.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you're, you know, trying to achieve something more off of this. And I really try to do that. And it's been something that, like I said, I struggled with all my life. But as I've gotten older and got better at being religious about taking my medications and that kind of thing and focusing myself, I've gotten much better at doing that, as opposed to just losing focus and then shutting down for a month, you know?
Yeah.
That's real life, you know, and I think if more people talked about those experiences and talked about those types of things, that wouldn't be as outsider-ish as it is. You know, I'm lucky that my mental problems are also fixed by my need for more things, or mine kind of go hand in hand, which before they might not have, because I was doing something I shouldn't be doing, or whatever I was, you know, whatever was going on at the time. At this point, I've got it to where, you know, I feel the need to do more and to be better. And instead of placing that on myself, I place that into projects. Because for a long time it was just be a better version of you know, but if I can do that, can I make better versions of other things? Can I make better things? You know, like it became like more, I was able to find a way to use it in a positive way instead of letting that need to control the chaos, if you will, you know, like to have all those things on the burner at once, you know, like that's a really, it was hard to look at for me, because I was like, all right, well, I still want to do everything though. But I had to get more focused, and I had to like laser in on things that I really wanted, because if not, I feel like nothing was going to get accomplished. Not one singular thing was going to get accomplished. You know, a lot of things would be kind of cool, but there wouldn't be something that was like amazing. So,
well, like you said, like, I mean, you hit that point where there's nothing left to do other than control the chaos. And if you don't have a focus, all you do is join in the chaos.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've been in a lot of chaos, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much stuff that, like, I'm not proud of. I'm not talking about like illegal stuff or that kind of thing. I'm just talking about, like, you know, you were in that situation. Like, what did you do to help anybody? What did you do, at the very least, even help yourself?
Yep.
And, you know, you think about it, and it's hard not to think of yourself sometimes as a selfish person. But if you're actually taking care of yourself, sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish about to take care of yourself properly.
I agree. I mean, and that's,
or physically, you know, that kind of thing.
It's hard to accept that though, you know, it's hard to be the person who's like, I'm going to be selfish, but I'm also not going to be selfish, you know?
Like, I saw something at one point in time. It was like, when I say I can't make it, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm busy. Sometimes I just need, like, my own time. You know what I mean? I need time to recharge myself. I need time to, you know, reevaluate things. I need time to sit and, you know, contemplate and
I'm trying to upgrade us to the Pro right now, because it's telling me it's going to kick us off. So I'm trying to upgrade. I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm trying to upgrade to the Pro before it cuts us off. So if it does cut us off before that, my sincerest apologies. And I know Eddie has to go, so I will get back to that. Let me get this upgraded. Hi, I'm Shamir Peshewa here with Eddie Reymond and Chris Durant. We got cut off yesterday in our meeting, on our Zoom meeting, so we went ahead and paid for Zoom, and we're back here to wrap it up. We were talking about a lot of different things, small business, goals, staying oriented, to be healthy during this time, just trying to make it during this time. We were really touching on a lot of different subjects, and Chris was talking specifically about being selfless, but also being selfish to take care of yourself. And you're going to see the end of that video, and then we're going to pick up here. So I'm going to let Chris go back ahead with what he was saying. And thank you for dealing with our technical difficulties.
You know, I mean, my biggest thing, and it's what I was trying to get across yesterday, is, and I thought about it again this morning, I love being able to help people, but you can't help people unless you can take care of yourself first. So there does come that moment in time where you have to just be selfish. And I do it on a regular basis. When I don't have my daughter, because she's my entire world, but when I don't have my daughter, sometimes I'll shut down for a couple days. And, you know, I don't answer the phone. I don't even turn on the lights sometimes. And then when somebody calls me like 2 days later and I'm kind of snapping out of it, I feel like Nell with Jodie Foster, like I'm trying to learn the English language again. I'm like, hello, you know? But this morning, it's such a beautiful day here in Knoxville today. And I went and sat outside on my balcony for a little while and just kind of like soaked up some sun and that kind of thing. And it was just, honestly, it was just something like I really needed. I felt so much more energized and recharged when I walked back in after that, because in a lot of ways right now, it's like with the way everything's going, it's like I'm waking up in the morning to go sit on the couch, you know? And so it's very, it's different. And so I think you need to take those personal moments and time sometimes for yourself. And I think I told you, I spent a couple of days ago, I spent the day going through like contacts in my phone and calling people that I haven't spoken, some of them like I haven't spoken to in 2-3 years. But even if I had to leave a voicemail, it was, hey man, just calling to check in on you because I know these are tough times, and sometimes it feels good just to know somebody's thinking about you. And I literally spent the day doing that. And I called everybody because, I mean, you know how long like I had Knoxville Man and that, like the things that I would do. I called everybody from Bob Saget to Andrea Lowell, who works for Playboy, on their morning show. You know what I mean? Like, and every like friend I had in high school in between, you know what I mean? Like, but I just, you know, I thought it felt good. And when they were like, hey man, thanks, that's awesome. Like when I actually spoke to someone, it made me feel good. And selfishness isn't always a bad thing.
No, and I think it kind of brings us full circle back to what Eddie was saying about making the goal for his birthday next year. Like, if you don't set goals, and we were talking about this, how we're all very similar and different, how we need to orient ourselves to our best level of success, to what success looks like for each individual person, not so much as a collective, but just for each individual person.
Right.
You know, and Eddie sees, we've talked about this. There was several fight camps where I put everyone else first, and I would go in and I would be running and Eddie would be like, dude, you have to put yourself first. And I'd be like, yeah, but what about so-and-so's weight? Or yeah, but what about, and Eddie would be like, do you want to focus on them or do you want to focus on you? And I'm like, I want to focus on me. And he said it nicer than that. That's my interpretation. You know, Eddie's a lot different. But I mean, Eddie, how many people do you talk to maybe not right now, but I mean, or right now on a weekly basis, who need help structuring goals and how to actually get towards some of those processes that they want to succeed in.
Yeah, so normally that's my whole life is what I do, whether it's through consultations, athletes, weight loss, or through text, through emails. But no, it's not been very much of that. I love what Chris did, calling everybody. I've actually thought of doing that and just haven't done it. I did it with my family that lives around the world. But yeah, one thing that has really helped me through this thing, because I actually think I'm in a better place right now mentally than I was before Corona.
Same.
Initially, I mean, I'm gonna lose money on this thing like everybody else. I mean, financially, I'm not in a better place, but mentally, I am, and it kind of, it started out by just being a big clusterfuck in my head. Sorry about the cussing, but I was just,
we're all
I
grown
mean,
here.
mentally, almost not depressed, but just feeling really bad, like scared. And I think what helped me the most is when I'd come in my office, I was like, well, I need to better myself and I need to better my business. And the way I did, it was really hard at the beginning because I had very little motivation. But I just picked one thing at a time to focus on. Like, I'm going to take care of this side of my office today. And I cleaned it up and things that I hadn't done in years. And then I'd go in another room and say, for the business, I'm going to take care of this side, like these files that I haven't touched in like 5 years. I found a lot of cool stuff, a lot of expired stuff. I mean, it was kind of weird. And then each day as I did that, my brain started feeling better. I got motivated. I started running. That motivated me. I started running every day. So it's been like, and then I started taking more of my supplements. I used to take over 110 pills a day. I laugh about that when I talk to my people. Is like when, 20 years ago, I was taking all the supplements I could. And then recently I was only taking like 6 or 7 pills. I had just backed off myself. But I got back on my supplements, at least the ones that I thought mattered right now. And everything started to click. Like, I felt better mentally, physically. And, like I said, like each day I feel like I'm in a better place through me and what I can do, I think, with what I have to work with in the future. So I'm excited about things. I'm excited about what the business is going to do afterwards. And I would like for small businesses, I know it's hard. Some of you are really struggling. Some of you are facing situations that are not good, but at least try to do the best you can to improve things wherever you can, because that can only be better. And for me, I can tell you that it is better. Like, I'm in a much better place than I was 3 weeks ago. Would I thought that 3 weeks ago? No, I would have never thought that. So that's one thing I wanted to share.
I completely agree. Like, and I appreciate what you said about that you liked that I spent the day calling people. Because I thought I was like calling people to help them have a better day. And then at the end of the day, I realized the whole thing, like, actually, it made me have a much better day.
Oh, yeah.
And
I can see that.
like, I personally felt more fulfilled, felt better. And like you said too, because like we talked about yesterday, I've got some mental health issues, which I don't share a lot, but I decided to go ahead and share. And, I would go through periods of like extreme shutdown. And, when I got done boxing and that kind of thing, I really like let myself shut down and let myself go physically. And since this happened, now there's not shit else to do, man. Like, I catch myself like outside, like running wind sprints and doing push-ups. And because in my head, it's like, oh, well, I mean, there's nothing else to do. But like in my heart, I'm like, this is who you are, dude. Like, like get control back of your life. And that's what I feel like I'm doing, and I'm trying to do for other people, just like you are. I know Shamir is as well, and that kind of thing.
What's interesting is I didn't hit that depressive state that Eddie's talking about until last week. So up until last week, I was still streaming workouts. I had done a whole bunch of work. I was like doing all sorts of stuff. And then last week,
you're also
I got
super hyped about your new business.
Yes. And which I wasn't scared though. People were like, "Aren't you afraid?" I'm like, "No, this is
right.
It'll be fine." Like I was just
ride that high.
I was up here, because I do have those manic highs and lows, and I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be great." Whatever, like we're a small business. Our bread and butter is privacy, like small groups, like this is okay. And then last week there was like a point where I was just like, what if it doesn't reopen? What if it doesn't reopen in May? What if I have some things lined up, but what if they didn't come through? And I found myself sitting in those feelings and like kind of processing those feelings, which you have to do. But I was kind of staying there, and I was like, I don't want to stay here. Like I know what this looks like. I know what this looks like a month from now. I know what this looks like years from now because I've been there. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay. And so I started like challenging myself to do different things than I would normally do. I mean, anything that I could think of, like redoing rooms, like Eddie was saying, like I redid this room that we're in right now. It's like usually just like a cluttered, that's where I set all my stuff when I'm done,
Hey, like Shamir, like you're just personally like such an inspiration and that kind of thing. Eddie, I don't know if you know this. I actually met Shamir about 12 years ago.
Okay.
She called me out of nowhere. She was this skinny little white girl with, I think like multicolored hair. And I was throwing a concert, and she asked if she could come to cover the concert and write about it, because she wanted to be a writer at the time. And
I did. Like Hunter S. Thompson.
And I said, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, absolutely. And I remember her, she got to the gate. I had her on the guest list. She got to the gate. She came up to me and she said, "Hi, I'm Shamir." I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." I was honestly, at the time, I was probably like drunk as fuck. But I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And then, like we probably didn't speak again for another couple years. She did write a very nice article about the concert.
For social media, which nobody was doing at the time, I might add. Covering concerts on social media 12 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm seeing her like pop up in my social media, because I do a lot of social media when it comes to my business. I don't do a lot of social media personally. I like post pictures that like I think are funny, or like pictures of like my daughter, because like my family can see her and that kind of thing. But like business wise, I was doing a lot of social media at the time, and I was like, wait a minute, don't I know that girl? And she was doing roller derby. And I was like, wait a minute, I know that girl. I was like, that's that little skinny girl that wanted to cover my concert. And then all of a sudden, she's like beating people's asses. And I was like, what the hell? Who is this girl? And I've got a question for you. Like, I know you said you get highs and lows like I do.
Mm.
Your first loss age, how did that feel?
It was...
I'll
tell you this, because it's probably the question you're looking for more than my first loss wasn't. I kind of shook it off, if that makes sense. Like there was a lot of things that were kind of weird. I had fought a whole bunch of times. I just kind of shook it off and really didn't. I was like, it was like a whatever. It was whatever, and just kind of.
First loss I saw you shouldn't have lost.
No, this one I should have. She choked me out. I should have lost this one. Like I was just like, whatever,
No,
and
I was
there. It off.
I was there.
You're probably thinking of a different one. You're probably thinking of the one I'm going to talk about at the Coliseum.
Oh, okay. All right.
So at the Coliseum, that's the loss that probably hurt the worst because I got cut open and they called the fight. Like I was in the middle of getting up. Like she hit me. I went down. I was in the middle of getting up and they called it and that hurt.
Weren't you?
Yeah. Like I got 3 stitches. What the fuck? 3 stitches is nothing. You know, like I was completely fine. And they're like, well, you're an amateur. It was actually an elbow, but they were like, well, she started the punch. So it was technically not illegal. That one hurt because
3 stitches today.
That one hurt because I had sold like 200 and some tickets. Glenn Jacobs cornered me. That was when I met Eddie because Vince had went and fought John Jones and I couldn't get the weight off. And I had to go see Eddie with like 8 days left. And I was like, Eddie, please help me. I was like, I don't know what to do. And so he did help me, but he was like, there's not much I can do, but I can help you a little bit. But he was like, his mental attitude helped me more than like the calm supplement he gave me. So I could poop.
I think Vince is one of the most underrated heavyweights of all time.
Yeah.
And I love Vince and
incredible person.
I met him because I cold called him. Like had never met him before, but through Frank Ippolito I got his number and called him and he did an interview with Knoxville Man. And
that hurt. That hurt a lot. That really did. You know, like that was probably one of the next day I got up and drove because I didn't even have a concussion. So I got up and drove the next day to Carolina and it hurt. And I talked to Eddie. I talked to Glenn that day. I talked to my coach that day. I talked to a lot of people and I kind of I was in kind of a funk a little bit and I got out of it. And there was a couple of injuries that really hurt me mentally. I think what has kept me going is I can't imagine never doing it again.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I want to put it down, no matter how many times I'm like, no, I'll walk away from this. I'll do something else. Every time I've walked away from fitness or trying to help people, it's just never worked, you know? And I think that's a sign. And I've just decided to kind of go with those signs instead of fight them. That's what happened last week when I started getting depressed. I was like, if you are trying to control the situation, like the world situation and the feelings that are going on in it, you're not trusting that it's all going to be okay. If God, I believe in God, some people don't, that's okay. But if God gave me everything that he's given me in these last 4 months to take it away because of the coronavirus or COVID, then that's what was supposed to happen anyway.
Right.
And I need to sit with that. And I need to be okay with that fact that no matter what happens, I'll show up every moment and do my best. Some moments might not be good. Some moments might be terrible. But what can I do the next moment? And that's where I have to stay focused in.
Well, that's one of the reasons I try to surround myself with, I keep a very small group. Like I've got a lot of friends, but I keep a very small group. And especially now as of late, because you and I have talked a lot and now Eddie and I are friends. My small group consists of people we all try to build each other up and they're all positive people. I don't have time for, hey, let's talk shit on somebody or let's try to drag someone down or that kind of thing. That's not my makeup. That's not how I get down because that's not the role model I would want my daughter to see either.
Yeah, and it's not going to help.
I want my daughter to see people like you. I've got a friend, Tina White. Do you know her? She owns Synergy Tattoo.
Mm-mm.
Like crazy red-haired girl.
Mm-mm. I know a lot of crazy redheads, but
extremely like positive, and she's very much about building up women.
That's
and I
awesome.
keep once these restaurants open back up, I'm just gonna drop my daughter off and give her money to pay for lunch. And I just want you to go have lunch with my daughter.
Yeah,
and
I'm down
to like show her what strong women are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. They got to have good role models. People joke about, I say people, but I've joked about Eddie having, his kids are all into fitness, and they haven't always been at all different times, but it's something that I've always looked at and been like, man, I hope if I ever, have kids that I can at least like encourage them, to be healthier or to be strong or to be those things. But you never know what happens. We have to continually surround ourselves and our future with people who are goal oriented and who want to succeed personally, not just
my daughter is not an athlete.
Well, she doesn't have to be.
I grew up like constant athletics, yet I also did theater and that kind of thing. I never did musicals because I can't sing worth a shit. But she has a beautiful singing voice, and she loves doing theater. But there's not an athletic bone in her body,
and that's okay. She doesn't have to be.
I mean, she's a cute girl. It's not like she like needs to work out because she's overweight or something like that. Like, unfortunately, in these times, we have a lot of kids that are in that situation. She takes after her mom. She's, tall and thin, and yet she has shoulders like I do. It's weird, but
that'll be good for her when she's older.
I tell you what, the other day she was like, "You're not faster than me," and I was like, "Honey, of course I am." He was like, "I bet you can't beat me in like a 40-yard run." I'll be honest, that 40 yards was about the longest I'd run in about a year.
But you wanted to beat her.
Yeah, right. There was no way I was going to let her win.
It was good motivation.
Right. Like there was no way that I was going to let her shame me down.
Guys, I want to wrap us up here. Thank you so much for giving this time and giving yourselves honestly and transparent so other people can see that everyone struggles. Everyone. It's not just one person. It's not rich, poor. It's not white, black, anything else. It's everyone. Eddie and Chris, thank you so much. I'm going to let you guys have it to tell people where to follow you and how they can connect with you and what to look out on the horizon for you. I'm going to go with Chris first, and then we'll go to Eddie, and then I'll sign us out.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, Shamir, it's been awesome, like getting to like reconnect with you. I think you're such a positive person, and I thank you for this forum, and also giving me the opportunity to meet Eddie, who I think is just such a positive light in this community. You can follow me on Facebook at Knoxville Man or Twitter at the Knoxville Man. The website, since I decided to bring things back with the way I'm going to be doing it, is under construction right now. But what I will have coming up is a new business partner and I are thinking about throwing a really amazing concert and fashion show in Knoxville. And, I'm just looking forward to this all being done and everybody getting back to their normal, but their normal B+ sized, and us all just like being able to walk around and smile at each other and say, hey, fuck, we made it through it. You know what I mean? Like, so, all right, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And I want to say that out of this thing, me making a new friend in you, probably one of the best parts. So I definitely see a good connection there, and I hope we can get together and have coffee when this is all over, or maybe have a beer or both. Shamir, thank you so much. I really didn't know what we were going to be doing for sure when you presented this to me, but it actually has been really cool mentally, and to be able to talk, and you can't really talk about this to too many people, so being able to do it was great. I hope we made a difference in people that be watching this. I do hope that everybody tries to remain positive and try to find something that could bring you ahead. That's the main thing, whether it's supporting somebody else by being a voice to them that makes them better, or your life, or hanging in there with your business and improving it so that things are better later. That's the main message on my end. That Knoxville is an amazing city. I want it to continue to be amazing. I look forward to this concert. I'll be there when you have it, Chris. And, you know, just every business out there, every individual out there, I wish you good luck. Hang in there. We're all in this together, like everybody says. You know, I think we're going to be in a good place. So just try to stay strong. And thank you for having me on this forum. You can follow me at Eddie's Health Shop. Eddie'sHealthShop.com is our website, and it's our Facebook page as well. Zenevo Chocolate, Zenevo. If you can follow that page, that'd be awesome. Always looking for support. And then my personal Facebook is just my name. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. I was gonna tell people where to follow you. Chris was too. We got your back.
So I was like, guys, make sure you go follow Eddie. Like,
I knew that this would be super positive for people, and I thought that this would be a cool combo to bring together. So I appreciate you guys coming and talking and you know, interacting. The whole idea for this series is around the block, just talking to people from around your block, you know, your social media block, because we're not actually near each other right now. We're not doing things like physically. Thank you for being open about mental health. I appreciate that, because that's a huge message for me and for other people, to normalize that it's okay, that you have bad days and good days and everything else. Thank you guys for being who you are. Of course, I'll be at the concert, and I always support anything that you guys do and share and everything else.
Once we're all able to be close again, then we'll meet at Frank's place, and I'll beat you up in a boxing ring. And then we'll come to your gym and roll and get out of me.
I heard Eddie has a mat in his basement. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard it.
It is. Yeah.
I don't want to hear Eddie's dirty stories.
No, not dirty. Not at all. Not dirty. Not at all.
We'll
Jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu. It's very PG.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys crack me up. Thank you for always giving me a laugh and giving me a smile and being positive role models in our community. Guys, you can follow me on social media under my name, Shamir Peshewa, or you can follow Marvel My Fitness, mightyTiny, or Midtown District. Yes, I have a lot of things going on, and that's okay. Thank you again for watching. I hope this helped you in some way. Stay in there, and have a wonderful day, guys.
You as well, honey.